So, I know y'all missed me. I've been gone for a bit just because of I've been busy with my life. I moved out, I got a car, I have a job since the last time I made a video that was like this. I swear that this year is the year that I actually come back. So, to come back, I need to make content. But I was thinking, I gotta make content? I don't have ideas. I'm not an idea man. I just draw funny pictures on my funny little screen and call it a day. But in drawing funny little pictures, I realized this is content. Making stuff about my characters is content. And recently, I had redesigned two of my old characters. If you had come here in the last, 2, maybe 3 years, you probably have no clue who I'm talking about. But for some of my OGs, you might know my boys Michael and Tommy in it. And I've healed from that phase of my life, and I have brought them back to be better and awesome, and I have to redo their whole story. And I need new art for them because their previous designs are invalid. And right now, just like clockwork, I am obsessed with them again because not all of my children can be loved the same at all times. And because they are new and their old stuff is completely invalid, they need more stuff. So like anybody would, I went on YouTube and I typed in fun things to do with your OCs. And knowing myself, I was gonna procrastinate. I was gonna pick out a bunch of stuff and then just never touch it again. Maybe do 1 or 2 if I was lucky, but for the most part, never touch it again. And then I realized, I want to make content again. And I have this funny list that I need to finish. Why not do both at one time? So I'm going to take you through the list with me about all the different funny little things that I want to do with my OCs from do these with your OC videos. While picking these out, I specifically wanted to do ones that either required drawing, because yes, I think making items or picking out items that relate to your OC is cool. I like drawing them and looking at them and witnessing them. And if I didn't pick one that specifically is me just drawing the character either in a funny pose or doing funny things or designing certain things, I just wanted it to be really funny. And like I said before, I have a almost full-time job and I've been working a lot. So I knew if I did something that took more than a day or a few hours that my attention span would go elsewhere, and I'd quickly find something else that was shiny and fun looking and follow that instead of making this video. So I typically picked things that only took an hour or a couple hours instead of something that, took days. Alright, I've been yapping for way too long for a flippin' intro, so onto the actual video. The first thing I decided to do was make stickers, since when I was younger I tended to make them pretty frequently. Since I was also trying to be fast, the drawings in this speed paint, or speed drawing technically, aren't that great, and also I hadn't recorded myself drawing in quite a bit, so I was at a pretty awkward angle, and as you're about to see, you can see my head pop into frame quite a bit. Point of the matter is, I made at-home stickers. That way, if you guys wanted to do it, you can literally use household items to make your own custom stickers. Technically, all you really need is see-through tape, but I would recommend using parchment paper. It's kind of like your own, the non-stick part on the back of a sticker that you can rip off. You can kind of make your own at home with parchment paper. That way, if maybe you want to give one to your friend, or if you just want to make a batch to be able to keep later for if you find something you want to put them on, you have that option. And as you can see, there's a lot of hair and fur on my desk. I live with 3 cats and 2 dogs, so my room's kind of messy. Also, the random wires and flushy thing you see at the top is my fake skin and my tattoo gun power supply. I'm trying to get into tattooing, so that's what this desk is mainly for, which is why it kind of looks so disheveled. Some people really like to cut the stickers out right up against the drawing, but I personally like there to be kind of an outline. I just kind of think it's better, and usually I fill in that outline. As you see, I'm filling it in with black, but obviously you can either fill it in with another color. I honestly suggest, what are they called? Acrylic markers. I suggest acrylic markers because a lot of other markers will end up bleeding through the paper and then it will mess up your sketch. I'm not using any special paper. The paper I'm using is just basic sketchbook paper, not made for like markers or anything like that, which is another reason why you see me using my acrylic marker. That way it doesn't bleed. Obviously, if you do want to do a colored in sticker, you probably should use one of those. Though, you know, the point still stands. You can use really basic paper. It just depends on your art material you use for it. And making the sticker is really easy. Just place 1 or 2 layers of tape on the bottom and then a nice thin layer of tape on the top. You don't want to overlap the tape too much because then you'll be able to clearly see the lines on the actual sticker. And then once you're done, you just cut the stickers out and boom, you got stickers. In total, they only took me 30 minutes to make, from the beginning of the drawing to the very end where I put them on the sketchbook. They're really fun to make and really simple to make, and if you literally just want an easy way to put your OCs literally anywhere, I would highly suggest this. Also, I prefer using the Scotch packing tape due to it being bigger. That way, if I make bigger stickers, it overlaps less. And here are stickers I made 5 years ago, and you can see how well they're still standing. Next thing I'm doing is filling out an OC chart. It's relatively simple and there's not too much to it. You can either go on Pinterest or you can find one on Twitter. I've never done one before and these are relatively new characters, so I didn't know a lot of the answer, but to be honest, this made me have to come up with an answer for at least most of them. And forcing me to come up with an answer made it a lot easier to kind of start developing and working on them, because it kind of gave me a guideline on what to work on. Like, I didn't think of, like, how wealthy they were, or their calmness level, or modesty level, or any of that stuff, and this made it so I had to fill it out. And next time I'm developing them, I can literally just look at this chart and just get a feel of how they are. Pretty easy, nothing much to it, and it's fun. Drawing over memes or stock images with your OCs. This is where I peak. I do this all of the time. Anytime I have a new character that I'm hyper fixated on or that I love, I always draw them over stock images, including pictures of me and my friend group, because it's just so fun. It's relatively easy to do. You can either go on Pinterest or your good old Twitter and just find funny images, or literally just look up stock images on Google. If you have a more cartoony art style, it might be more difficult to convert it over in a real life image, but I would just honestly suggest like tracing the proportions a little bit and then just trying to replicate it in your own style. The body proportions don't need to match up realistically or anything. That's just an easy way to do it if you have a cartoony style. Doing this is really fun, and it's also a really good way to practice your anatomy and how clothes work and how just everything works. Because I draw jackets and sweaters all of the time, but then I was drawing over this image and I was realizing that I was either adding too much folds in my actual jackets that I was drawing, or I was making them like too tight and that they needed to be baggier. It's a really good like study of like anatomy and also jackets and clothing. Also, you get to do all this like practice work of learning how to do clothes and hair and faces and how proportions work, and you get a really funny image as the end result for like to as a like a reward. I highly suggest this to anybody. I do not care how bad you are at art or how good you are at art. It is so fun, and if you are in art block or if you literally just have no ideas of what to do, I highly suggest doing this. It's literally so fun. If you've never done it, please do it. And both of these images took about 40 minutes to do. It's pretty quick because you are basically tracing the anatomy from the original image, so it doesn't really take too much. But I know not a lot of people, I know some people don't like drawing over real life images because they think it's considered like cheating for some reason, but I love it. I love it. I think it's awesome. It's a really great way to learn, and you're not tracing over another artist and stealing credit for their work. It's awesome. Also, you probably can tell I'm not using a script for any of this because I do really bad at scripts, so I apologize for all my mumbling and ums and everything, but yeah, that's it for this section. Make edits for your OCs. What the fuck? No. Make Spotify playlists for them. Pretty self-explanatory. I have Spotify Premium, so I can just easily make myself playlists, pick whatever song I want, go to whatever song I want, and it's pretty simple, pretty easy. As you can see, I already kind of made the playlist, so I'm just looking through, seeing what recommended songs there are, listening to a few of them, and seeing if maybe they would fit the vibe. I kind of get overwhelmed if I have too many playlists for different characters, so I tend to group my characters into one playlist. So for Oscar and Michael, I group them into one playlist, and so I'm picking songs that either fit both of them or just one of them. I don't use anything besides Spotify, but I'm sure you can do the same on like Apple Music or like YouTube Music. You can also make YouTube playlists for your OCs, like either videos that fit them or music that's only on YouTube that fits them. So yeah, pretty simple. I like it. It's really fun. Really nice to daydream when I'm driving about them and listening to music that fits them. Voice claims. Picking out voice claims for your OCs is really fun to do. I personally am kind of bad at it. I for some reason have a really hard time imagining what my OC's voice sounds like in my head. But even though I have a hard time imagining what their voice sounds like in my head, I'm really, really, really picky about what voice actor or voice I consider to be their voice claim for some reason. And you might be wondering what I'm drawing in the background and why I have a drawing going on in the background if I'm talking about voice claims. Well, I decided to merge animating them and voice claims together. So basically, I'm animating their voice claim. For me, this makes it a lot easier for me to imagine them actually sounding like this and saying these words if it's animated. And it had been quite a while since I've done lip syncing. Probably a year and a half since I've done lip syncing. Since recently, I've just been doing normal animatics. But back in my original days, I tended to do lip syncing a decent amount, but I would animate and flip a clip. So instead of drawing out different mouth shapes and reusing them, I would just draw a new mouth shape for every single word. And the thought of doing that sounded like a headache, so I decided I would try to actually be professional about this, I guess. And I used this list on mouth shapes, and I made 2 sets of them. I made one set where he's smiling, and then one set when he was frowning. And later on, I made one set for when he was mad. And when I was putting everything together, I looked at this list to see what mouth shapes I was supposed to use for what syllables, for what words. My dog's barking in the background. But I just use this list as kind of a visual, oh my gosh, I can't talk, visual representation of what each mouth looked like. That way I didn't have to go back and double check what each mouth looks like. But to be honest, by the end, I kind of didn't even use the right mouths for the right, like, syllables. Because for some reason, they just didn't look right to me. So I just kind of assigned them to different syllables, or whatever they're called, than were actually on the list. I also try to color code them in order to help myself have a colored way to tell what is what. So all of the orange is the slightly upset mouths. I think The blues are the happy mouths, the red are the really mad ones, and then I think purple are the ones that can be used for either happy or sad. There were also times in the animation where the character would start talking really, really fast, and I would just have to kind of guess what mouth movements they were making, because you wouldn't be able to. If he was saying "oh," I'd use the "oh" mouth. But sometimes in that one frame, he would be saying "oh" and then moving on to So you would kind of just have to go for a weird in-between or dedicate to one particular mouth. Also, I had originally planned on just animating the mouth and maybe the eyes a little bit, but it kind of devolved. I ended up animating the mouth, the eyes, the eyeballs, the eyebrows, and then his chin to make it seem more lifelike, because when you do talk, your chin moves up and down. I don't think I have tried doing this before, and if I did, it was a long time ago. The whole process from beginning to end took me about 4 hours. The first half I did at night, probably till, I don't know, like 11 p.m. And then I had worked on the rest the next morning after I got home from work, and that took me about an hour and 45. Also, the next day after I'd finished it, I was showing my coworker, and she told me that he looked cross-eyed, and so now I'm a little insecure that he looks cross-eyed. To me it looked fine. To me it still looks fine, but I know I've had somebody say that before, so that's probably something I need to work on. Also, after I started working on it, the next day when I worked on it again, I had realized some of the mouth movements I didn't like and needed to be tweaked, so that's why earlier you saw me deleting certain frames and coming back and putting in new ones. It's always nice to work on it and then take a good couple hours break or even a day break. That way you can see it with fresh new eyes and see what really needs to be changed. I tend to be easily overwhelmed, that's the word. I tend to be overwhelmed if I have too many frames or if I'm doing too many things at once. So in order to kind of combat that, I worked on everything separately. I worked on all the mouth movements first, and once I finished the mouth, I worked on the eyes. After I worked on the eyes, I worked on the eyeballs, then the eyebrows, and then the chin, and so on and so forth. That way, it was all separated, and it was made into easy bite-sized chunks for me to easily attack. I said attack, that's kind of funny. Even though animating takes so long to do, and it's very tedious, over the years I've animated so many things that I'm just happy to be doing it. It's so satisfying to be able to put all this time into one thing and see your own creation come to life. When I hit 16, my original drive for creating and animating kind of fizzled out, and I had gotten worried that I'd never get it back. I just thought it was some form of child wonder, of finding out you can create things, so you try to create everything you can. But recently I've really been able to just find my love and passion for art again, and it's awesome. I used to think everything that I had to make had to be perfect. It had to be finished, and it had to have nice, clean, and smooth lines, but I understand now that that is not how art is. Art's supposed to be messy, and art's supposed to be painfully you, and that's what makes it so awesome. That's what draws so many people to doing art. And I'm lucky enough where I have people who love my art and are inspired by my art. But yeah, I don't know. That was a weird side tangent. Anyway, look at this funny little guy. Look at him looking around while I'm trying to do his eyes. Isn't that so silly? Isn't that so goofy? Anyway, yeah, the speed paint's almost done. This was really fun to do. I highly suggest doing this. If you've never animated before, fuck it, try it. It's literally amazing. You don't have to be perfect, and there's so many different kinds of animation for you to do that are a lot easier or more difficult. Depends on your skill level. So here's the finished product of Austria's voice claim.
Well, anyway, it's not half as bad as double pneumonia, right? I mean, his dad's got 1 foot in the grave and 3 feet on a banana peel. Me? Me have an apology? He gets a bandit hat? He just got here, he got a bandit hat? Where's my bandit hat? Why didn't I get shot at? It's because you think I'm no good at anything! Well, maybe you're right. Thanks. I'm grumpy. I spit. I wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm just different, apparently.
Yay, that looks so great! It's been like 2 weeks since I recorded most of the original audio for this, because I've just been really busy, but time for the last thing to do. For this last magic trick, you're going to need to abduct one of your friends and force them, enslave them into drawing your characters. I kindly abducted my best friend, Palooza. I love them. Hello, Palooza. I know you're watching. And I asked her to draw Oscar and his wife. She designed the wife, and she was there for their original story. She knows more about their OG story than I do. If I forget anything about the original story, I ask her. You know what? No, I literally ask her, hey, can you remind me the entire plot of the original story? And she could tell me. She is an OG. I love you. Palooza, I love you. You're my best friend. I would ride or die for you. Anyway, besides that whole yapping thing, get your friends to draw your OCs. Either you can ask them, you can do an art trade, or you can just straight up commission your friends. Either way works. It is so nice to see your characters in your friends' art styles. And, do you see the art on the fucking screen right now? Do you see how nice her art is? You see that painting, bro? I can't even do that shit. Sorry, didn't mean to get a little loud. Just a little passionate about my friends. Sorry, I'm really excited right now. I need to calm down. Point of the matter is, get your friends to draw your OCs. It is so... Oh, you can save that shit. If you can, print that shit out and put it on your wall. The second I'm able to, I'm gonna print this artwork out and I'm gonna put it right above my bed. Promise. The way your friends can draw your characters can actually give you more ideas for their designs, or even if you're not fully confident in one of your OC's designs, you can ask your friends to help you redesign them, and they'll give you new perspectives you never even thought of. I love working on stories with other people. I actually find it quite hard. I just saw what she wrote on the screen. It's funny, sorry. But the point of the matter is, I struggle to write stories without having my friend or friends help me. I personally don't think I can write stories without other people's perspectives, and having other people there to help me with the story keeps me engaged in it. I honestly don't have too much more to say about this particular topic of having your friends draw your OCs. Just have them draw them, commission them, or do an art trade. So I'm personally just probably gonna go on a little bit of a random rant, if that's okay. So this whole thing is like so I can make more art of Oscar and Michael, but a lot of you are probably like, who is that? Because most of you are probably here from like my Cuphead days or just like my newer animations and stuff like that. Their original story was basically Oscar was like 17 in high school, and a bunch of his friends and him went to a cabin that one of their parents owned, and oh, Michael's like lives in the woods and he's a crazy killer, and then he like killed all of his friends, but he got left alive for some reason. And then he goes back into society. He's stuck dealing with like all the trauma from all this traumatic event, and then like Michael somehow like finds him, even though like he's a man of the woods, and that doesn't even make sense. And so basically for some reason they spark like a friendship, but it's not a friendship, but it is. But like Oscar slowly starts liking him, and then Michael slowly starts liking him, but Michael was actually made to be a bioengineered war weapon because his parents were into like I don't know what it's called, but they were into like making the best human, and they were like researchers, and it was really weird. And Oscar was like a Twinkie uwu boy. Like, I'm literally like such a baby, and that's so fucking gross. The fact that they were shipped with each other was really gross, because the guy who basically like made Michael's personality and his backstory and everything, I'm not gonna get into him, but I hate him. He's gross. But I didn't want to ship Oscar and Michael because I was like, that's weird. Oscar's a victim. Why would we ship him with Michael? And he was like, no, 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 no. We're gonna ship them, right? So that's the only reason I shipped them. And Michael had like multiple personality disorder, which is now like DID, and I didn't want him to have that, but the guy said no, 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 he has to have it, and it has to be because he's a bioweapon, and it has to be triggered if somebody says a certain word and blah blah blah. Yeah, it was really weird. It was horrible. So all of that not canon anymore. Not canon. Oscar's no longer an uwu boy. He's in his like mid-20s. He has a fiance. Like, it's completely different now. Now they're both crazy. Like, now Oscar and Michael are both crazy. And they both kind of have a thing. But it's not like a healthy thing. And it's meant to be weird and gross. They're supposed to be messed up characters. And it's not like a, oh, I can fix them. It's a, oh, we can make each other worse. And I love that. And I want to explore that kind of character dynamic. Because I want to be able to do it in a way that makes sense. And not a toxic uwu boy and an abuser. Their whole story right now is a huge work in progress. But way better. And I need to shut up. Because look at how fucking good this artwork is. Palooza, you have my heart and my soul. Your art is gorgeous. And everybody in the comment, please say something about their artwork because it is so fucking good. All their links will be in my description. I mean, yeah, the description. So that's it. That's everything for the video. I hope you enjoyed. It's honestly been quite a bit since I've done anything like this, and editing isn't my strong suit, so I hope the editing in here looks okay. Check out my pretty boyfriend Inferno. All of the background music was done by him. And then go check out my best friend Palooza, please. It would mean so much to me. I hope everybody has a good day or a good night whenever y'all are watching this. And yeah, goodbye.